The hit that everybody wants to talk about, and there will be no supplemental discipline because, or at least no hearing on one.
Yep.
So it could be a fine, I guess, was Matthew Tkachuk on Jake Guentzel. Now, this rivalry between the two of them dates back a ways, but, obviously in game one, Jake Guentzel was, chirping at Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk obviously got the last laugh there. They've been going at each other all series. And on this particular play, Matthew Tkachuk does get a 5-minute penalty. And Jake Guentzel did. So what they're saying is Jake Guentzel did touch the puck. That's how it's different from the Hagel hit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Matt Tkachuk's principal point of contact was not the head.
No, it was shoulder to chest.
Right? And he was given a 5-minute penalty, and the NHL usually doesn't suspend on a 5-minute penalty because it, usually comes with the game misconduct. But the game was over. The game was
he
over.
didn't get a game misconduct.
No, he got 5
There
minutes.
was just exactly 5 minutes left on the clock, which I thought was hilarious.
They also judged it based on, and this is a new one for me, force of hit.
Is this the Friedman tweet?
Yeah. How do you measure force of hit?
Force. You know how you measure it? By the reaction of the player. All these guys, listen, there's always new innovations in hockey. For a while, the goalies were running the show. And because they started being able to bend themselves into a W and then a lowercase q into a capital Q. Like, they just got the greatest workouts. They did goalie-specific stuff. They look around the ice for different targets like absolute lunatics. And goalies ran the show for a long time.
Right.
Now, everyone shoots the puck like a laser because players got tired of all-time record low goal scoring. And this might be actually costing us money, and we don't like this. And you got Nathan MacKinnon and his chickpea pasta. You got Nathan MacKinnon and his boxing. Some guys do boxing. I remember Sean Thornton talking about doing jiu-jitsu or judo because it helped with his grip strength. So when you're in a fight with him and he's got you by the collar, he's got you by there until he decides not to. They're doing running. They're doing soccer. They're doing calisthenics. They're doing this. They're doing that. I got a new class for the off-season, acting class. Jake Guentzel, it is a 5-1 game. That is an empty net goal. You should have learn how to ragdoll and lie there like you're dead. And I promise you it's a game. But you got right up and you had to say something because you're Jake Guentzel and you're one of the biggest motor mouths in the entire NHL. And because of that, Tkachuk's going to get shit all.
The NHL waited, and Jesse and I talked about this on the pre-show yesterday. The NHL waited until late Friday to announce the Hagel suspension, right?
Yes.
And Drew, who was running my stream, he was like, "Okay, tinfoil hat. They're waiting to see if Sasha Barkov can play."
And then he did play.
So then it's only one game.
I didn't believe that.
They do now. I agree with you, Jesse. I don't think that's probably what happened, but they do suspend based on outcome. Oftentimes,
they do,
even though they say that they don't.
I think because they take that outcome into something like this, a force of hit.
Am I wrong in saying waiting for the outcome in the Barkov situation is kind of valid? Like
No.
Like
you suspend the action. That's
you
what
suspend
you
the action, but like it's. If you're Brandon Hagel, you know that's Barkov. If you're Matthew Tkachuk, you know that's Jake Guentzel. So here's an idea I've had on and off for a few years. And I know it's never going to get adopted, and I'm wondering what we would have to do to get it adopted. So Tkachuk, 0 games. How do we feel about that? And Tampa fans go, boo, bullshits. Okay. Tkachuk, 1 game. How do we feel about that? And Panthers fans go, boo, bullshit. Okay. It's the end of a game. You were getting a piece of flesh, pound of flesh. Mm-hmm. You knew exactly what you were doing. It was a chicken chip play and a penalty during a game that is already done.
Yep.
You can't play the first period next game.
A first period suspension kind of thing, yeah.
Why not? Why not? It's like... I think if you get a misconduct, which apparently he didn't in this case.
No, he did not.
No, it was a 5-minute. Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't apply in this case. So let's talk about, let's say he gets it. It should carry over. It's a playoff series and you knew what you were doing. It should carry over into the next game. Mm-hmm. A game is too much. Okay, fine. I agree. He shouldn't be able to play the first period.
Cirelli and Mikkola, who got into it right afterwards, both got 10-minute misconducts and were booted. Tkachuk, it was 15 minutes exactly to go, so they gave him a 5-minute
No,
penalty.
it's 5 minutes left on the clock.
Sorry, that's
15
what I mean.
minutes
Sorry,
in.
15 minutes into the third.
Yeah.
My bad.
I know that always trips me up.
So 5 minutes left means he's out of the game. But isn't it interesting? He doesn't get a misconduct, but Cirelli and Mikkola do. Not that it matters in the actual timing, but when you frame how they look at it afterwards and the technicality of it, it is kind of funny.
So like maybe Cirelli and Mikkola aren't eligible to play the first 5 minutes or something like that of the next game. Like I don't know. I just feel like there's something there. Tyler Dello, who is now the assistant general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, back in his blogging days, he wrote about when the net is empty, there are no laws out there. Mm-hmm. And the NHL is like, their priorities are so inconsistent and illogical and nonsensical. Nick Cousins got fined over $2,000. The Senators organization got fined $25,000 because he flicked a puck at a buddy pre-game. Because the NHL wants to cut down on the pre-game shenanigans. Matthew Tkachuk throws what he knows is an illegal hit in a game that he knows his team cannot win, in a scenario where he knows his team is about to get scored on. And what's the price for him to pay?
Nothing.
A 5-minute penalty at the end of the game, and he decided, you know what? Too good of a price to pay. You ever go shopping and you're like, you know what? I wasn't going to buy any shirts today, but $4, I can't afford to pass that up.
Yeah. How do you stop somebody from speeding when they can afford the fine?
Yeah.
Right?
Matthew Tkachuk can afford the fine in this situation. He's very happy to take the last 5 minutes off of a now 4-goal game where they're down. So he's happy to take that penalty.
Wasn't that a thing with Frankie Muniz, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle?
Who's now a professional race car driver?
Yeah, and he's a professional race car driver who used to get speeding tickets all the time and just went, fuck you, and paid them all. Whereas you get guys like Leo Komarov who go back to Finland and he gets pulled over for speeding and they fine you based on what you make.
Yes.
And so he got fined
$70,000.
It's a percentage of your salary.
He got fined like 3 times more than the Sens did for the Nick Cousins stuff.
I think on that play, the hit isn't as violent. It's not as illegal.
Not Brandon Hagel.
It's not as illegal as what Hagel did. Barkov never touched the puck. Hagel hit him partly in the head. It was a vicious hit. He got 1 game. But it's as illegal in different ways in that Tkachuk takes a swing back at center ice when he's ahead of the play and the puck is going towards the empty net.
Yes.
When he delivers that hit, Jake Guentzel passes the puck to Cirelli, who then scores on the empty net in that one play.
Yes.
If you are making the correct hockey play, you're going to try to guard your empty net.
Nope.
But in the instance where I think there's more than 2 seconds that pass there from Guentzel passing the puck to Cirelli, Matthew Tkachuk, video evidence, makes a U-turn and decides to hit Jake Guentzel. And I think in that case, it's such a targeted event that happens when the game is out of reach that the intent to injure is more obvious than the Hagel
but
hit.
Jesse, he didn't hit his head, so how could he intend to injure?
People need to pay attention to the words they use.
Yeah.
Well, it's clean.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it isn't. It's clean because he didn't hit him in the head?
Right.
You idiots. It's interference. So what are you talking about?
I think you can say it's a clean hit in that he delivered a legal body check at an illegal time, which makes the play illegal, but you can say that the hit is clean. I differentiate that because there is a difference between what Hagel did to Barkov and Matthew Tkachuk's hit on Guentzel. So I'm calling Matthew Tkachuk's hit a clean hit, but at an illegal time.
On an ineligible player.
Exactly. Which makes it so it's so semantics.
Yes.
But people love to get into weeds of the semantics, which shouldn't matter at all, because what he did, I think, was just not a hockey play.
Like if I'm a Sens fan this morning, I'm like, are you serious? Nick Cousins, like if I'm Michael Andlauer, I'm like, okay, so I'm a little new here. I'm $25,000 lighter.
Yeah.
What are they getting? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Panthers organization should be fined for that. Not every team should be fined for whatever happens in a game.
Well, the Senators
But Tkachuk is going to get nothing.
The Senators have a tight whistle with head office. There's no question.
Oh my God!
I don't know. Like, what did Michael Landauer do to Gary?
All he did
Give
was
him billions of dollars.
Yeah,
Give
all
him
he
so
did
much money.
was pay more than he wanted to for the Senators, so Gary could
Save
have him.
a franchise.
Yeah,
Oh my
literally.
God.
He didn't want to pay that much for the Senators. It was Gary that said, "Listen, we don't want any of these other ownership groups. We want you. Just make it. Just slide me another 50 mil, 100 mil. What's the big
Schmill.
deal?" So
I don't
it'll
think we recorded since that fine actually came out, right?
Well, we did the
No.
pre-show.
No,
we did
like
the pre-show,
an
but yeah, no,
STP.
not an STP.
Because I thought it was so weird that the organization is being punished
I
for
don't
something
understand that.
an individual did
I
on the
don't get
ice.
that.
Because like when Hagel gets his suspension for a game hitting Barkov, the Tampa Bay Lightning aren't fined for that. But because the NHL says this happened outside of the play, the organization is then responsible. It's very odd.
So I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Sens are paying a Nick Cousins tax. Cousins has been fined for diving. He's been fined for embellishment, which happens very rarely, and you get 1 or 2 warnings before you're fined. If you get enough embellishment fines, the coach gets fined. And we just haven't seen an instance of it. And I think this is the Sens going, control your guy. Who
The
we
league going-
all-
the league going to the
Sorry.
Sens.
It's
Yeah.
the league going to the Sens saying, control your guy, who we don't like already. We already don't like this person. And, that's how it works. Like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me the league treats Evander Kane like every other player. Like, the Oilers were getting
and by the way-
investigated, and they also took a look at Gabriel Landeskog to make it not that obvious. They hate that guy.
well, but and listen, he's got a history.
I think
It's earned.
I think he's
It's
earned
earned.
that reputation.
Yeah, so has Cousins. So has
Sure.
Cousins.
But like you still in the eyes of the law,
there?
everyone's supposed to be looked at. All right, let's take a fresh lens at all this, and they can't put it aside because they do have their favorites and they have their least favorites, and Nick Cousins is among them. And I think so is Evander Kane. Where did we start?
We were talking about the Florida Tampa game.
Yeah.
And
Talking about
I think they
Hagel.
like the Tkachuks. I mean, if
I mean,
you're
they are good for the league. They're box office.
the Tkachuks have made the NHL. Think of the inroads the Tkachuks.
Hey, you guys made fun of me a couple years ago when Matthew Tkachuk was in the middle of the playoff run and he's in People magazine. You guys were like, what is this?
You were early on
I'm
that.
like, guys,
Yep.
I'm telling you, this is a start. Like,
You
that's
were-
a big deal.
You were early on
Steve,
that.
what do you think about Colin Campbell and his relationship to the Florida Panthers?
I think he is among the worst active things in the sport. I think his plaque should be chiseled out of the Hall of Fame. The fact he's in there is a disgrace. And his son is the AGM. The guy who got caught being corrupt.
Yeah.
About his son.
Over a decade ago, literally verbatim about his son.
And you could just Google the emails.
Google it. And they're real, they're authentic, they're from court documents. Yeah, no, I don't have faith that the NHL treats Colin Campbell's son's team the way they treat the 31 others.
Well, you know what, Steve? What do you base that on?
I base it on the court-confirmed corruption.
Yeah, but what
that
is
went
that?
unpunished.
All right.
Oh, no, maybe it did go punished. Maybe he really, really didn't want to be in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and they put him in there anyway to teach him a lesson. Colin Campbell being in the Hall of Fame is shocking.
John Cooper and Paul Maurice are having a quote off, and that's great for the sport.
Can this series be a best of 13?
John Cooper, in response to
Please.
Tkachuk's hit on Guentzel, the only players we hit are the ones with the puck. And that is in response to Paul Maurice's quote after Hagel's hit on Barkov, where he said, the only players we hit are the ones that have puck, excuse me.
Which is, it's a great quote from Maurice, and it's a great quote from, I almost called him Torts, the opposite, Cooper.
You know what's interesting about both of them?
What?
They're liars.
Oh,
It's crazy.
any good coach is a dirty liar.
Dirty liars.
Here's John Cooper saying it post game.
It's so good.
It's so funny.
Any comments on that? Do you expect any repercussions from the league after what we just saw with Hagel?
The only players we hit are the ones with pucks. So.
It's great. It's great. I love these guys.
I love both of them.
The way he delivered it so blankly,
Yeah.
like not even a smile,
No
not
smirk.
even a smirk. He just said it.
It's great.
Every single spring, John Cooper goes, "It's John Cooper time." And it's so fun.
John Cooper just powers up like Michael Bublé at Christmas.
Oh,
Like,
and Paul Maurice goes, "It's Paul Maurice time." Yeah, Michael Bublé at Christmas. Don't you dare talk about my close personal friend Michael from BC.
I'm excited because if the Leafs make it to the next round, which I think they will do in game number 5, we either get Paul Maurice in Toronto or John Cooper in Toronto.
and they're both great.
So
They're
either
both
way,
great.
we're winning here.